Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in every woman's life when her wisdom whispers louder than the noise around her. This wisdom isn't something shouted from the rooftops. It's carried in the way she moves, the choices she makes, and the energy she protects. A wise woman knows that to honor her journey, she must sometimes release what no longer serves her. And this often includes the people she once held close. Now, I'm not talking about grand confrontations or dramatic exits. No. True strength lies in the silence of her decisions. When she recognizes someone draining her light, undermining her growth, or dimming her fire, she doesn't argue. She doesn't justify. She simply steps away. Because she knows her energy is sacred, her peace is non-negotiable, and her path is hers to protect. This isn't easy. Saying goodbye, even silently, to people who've been part of your life, friends, family, colleagues, or even partners, takes courage. It's a recognition that not all connections are meant to last forever. Some are lessons, and some are blessings. But holding on to the wrong ones can block the flow of the blessings you truly deserve. The value of solitude is a concept often misunderstood in a world that thrives on constant connectivity and social interaction. Solitude is not loneliness. It is a conscious choice to be alone with oneself, a deliberate retreat from the noise of the external world to explore the depths of one's inner landscape. Embracing solitude allows for profound self-discovery, renewal, and clarity, offering a sanctuary where one can connect with their truest self. In the hustle of daily life, moments of solitude are often seen as indulgences rather than necessities. Society tends to equate busyness with productivity and solitude with idleness. But this perspective misses the transformative power of being alone. Solitude creates a space where the mind can wander freely, unburdened by the demands of others. It is in these quiet moments that creativity flourishes, problems are solved, and new perspectives emerge. Without the distractions of constant interaction, the mind finds room to breathe and expand. The value of solitude lies in its ability to foster self-awarenesses. In the presence of others, our thoughts, actions, and even our sense of self can become influenced by external expectations and judgments. Alone, we are free from these influences. Solitude offers an opportunity to reflect on who we are, what we value, and what we truly want out of life. It allows us to confront our fears, embrace our strengths, and acknowledge our vulnerabilities. This self-awareness is the foundation of personal growth and authenticity. Solitude also serves as a powerful tool for emotional healing. Life inevitably brings challenges, disappointments, and heartbreaks that require time and space to process. In solitude, we can fully experience and work through our emotions without the pressure to perform or explain ourselves to others. It is a space where we can grieve, forgive, and heal. By allowing ourselves to sit with our feelings, we gain a deeper understanding of them and ultimately of ourselves. In addition to emotional healing, solitude enhances mental clarity. When we are constantly surrounded by noise and activity, it can be difficult to hear our own thoughts. Solitude quiets the external clamor and allows us to focus on what truly matters. It helps us to prioritize, make decisions, and gain insight into complex situations. Many of history's greatest thinkers and creators have credited solitude as the source of their most profound ideas. From artists to scientists, the ability to retreat into oneself has often been the key to unlocking innovation and inspiration. Another aspect of the value of solitude is its role in fostering resilience. In solitude, we learn to rely on ourselves, to find comfort and strength within. This self-reliance builds confidence and a sense of independence that carries over into every area of life. When we are comfortable being alone, we are less likely to seek validation from others or to fear their absence. Solitude teaches us that our worth is not determined by external approval, but by our own understanding and acceptance of ourselves. In relationships, solitude is equally important. Paradoxically, spending time alone can enhance our connections with others. When we take the time to nurture ourselves, we bring a fuller, more authentic version of ourselves to our relationships. Solitude helps us to set boundaries, to know where we end and others begin. It allows us to approach our interactions with clarity, intention, and a deeper sense of empathy. By understanding and meeting our own needs, we become better equipped to understand and meet the needs of others. The practice of solitude is not without its challenges. For many, the idea of being alone can be daunting. It may bring up feelings of discomfort, restlessness, or even fear. This is often because we are not used to sitting with ourselves, with our thoughts and feelings laid bare. However, these initial discomforts are a natural part of the process. Over time, as we become more accustomed to solitude, these feelings subside, and we begin to experience its benefits more fully. To cultivate the value of solitude, it is important to approach it with intention. Solitude is not simply about being alone, it is about being present with oneself. This requires creating an environment that supports introspection and reflection. For some, this might mean spending time in nature, where the beauty and serenity of the natural world provide a backdrop for inner exploration. For others, it might involve journaling, meditation, or simply sitting in silence. The key is to find practices that resonate with you and to make them a regular part of your life. Solitude also requires boundaries. In a world where we are constantly connected through technology, finding time for solitude can be challenging. It is easy to fall into the trap of filling every moment with distractions, from scrolling through social media to answering emails. To truly embrace solitude, we must create intentional breaks from these distractions. This might mean setting aside specific times to unplug, turning off notifications, or even taking a digital detox. By prioritizing solitude, we signal to ourselves and to others that our inner world is just as important as the external one. One of the greatest misconceptions about solitude is that it is a solitary endeavor. While the essence of solitude is being alone, it is also a deeply connected experience. In solitude, we connect with ourselves on a profound level, but we also connect with something greater. This could be a sense of spirituality, a connection to nature, or a feeling of being part of the larger human experience. Solitude reminds us that while we are individuals, we are also part of a greater whole. Solitude is not an escape from the world. It is a way to engage with it more meaningfully. When we take the time to recharge and reflect, we return to our lives with renewed energy, perspective, and purpose. Solitude allows us to show up more fully, to be more present and intentional in our actions. It gives us the clarity to see what truly matters and the courage to pursue it. The value of solitude is timeless and universal. It is a gift that we can give ourselves, a space where we can find peace, clarity, and strength. In a world that often prioritizes doing over being, solitude is a reminder of the importance of simply being. It is an affirmation that our worth is not determined by our productivity or our social connections, but by our inherent value as individuals. Embracing solitude is a journey, one that requires patience, courage, and self-compassion. It is not always easy, but it is always worthwhile. In solitude, we discover who we are, what we need, and what we are capable of. We learn to trust ourselves, to honor our own experiences, and to find joy in our own company. And in doing so, we unlock a source of strength, wisdom, and peace that enriches every aspect of our lives. In a world that is constantly shifting and pulling us in multiple directions, it can be easy to lose focus and find ourselves caught up in the noise of others, Our lives are filled with distractions, messages, opinions, demands, expectations, and the endless chatter that often cloud our judgment and divert our attention from what truly matters. One of the most important lessons a wise woman learns is how to manage the noise around her. She understands that letting go of the constant clamor is not just beneficial, but necessary for her peace of mind and personal growth. It is in silence, in stillness, that she reconnects with her true self, finding clarity and strength. The noise around us can come in many forms. It might be the opinions of others, often unsolicited, that push us to doubt ourselves and question our worth. It might be the constant buzz of social media where comparison is rampant and where external validation often becomes a measure of self-worth. There's also the noise of negative self-talk, the inner critic that constantly tells us we aren't good enough, or that we must always do more to be worthy of love and success. And then there is the noise created by the people we surround ourselves with, the ones who drag us into unnecessary drama, gossip, and toxic conversations that only serve to drain us and pull us away from our goals and dreams. A wise woman learns to navigate through this noise with grace and discernment. She understands that much of what surrounds her is not her reality, nor does it define her. What others say, think, or do does not have to impact her peace unless she allows it to. She has the wisdom to recognize that the noise often comes from places of insecurity, fear, or lack. It reflects more about the person making the noise than it does about her. This understanding gives her the power to protect her energy and focus on the things that truly matter. One of the most powerful decisions she makes is to step back from situations and people that bring unnecessary noise into her life, whether it is the constant clamor of people's opinions or the internal chatter of self-doubt. She becomes intentional about the energy she allows into her space. This means learning to let go of the need for validation from others, recognizing that her worth is not tied to external approval, but to the truth of who she is. Without the truth of who she is, it means filtering out the messages that don't align with her values or her vision for the future, and allowing only those that inspire and uplift her to stay. When a wise woman cuts out the noise, she opens herself up to a world of clarity and focus. She becomes better equipped to hear her inner voice, the voice that knows what she needs, what she desires, and what her soul is yearning for. She learns to trust herself, her intuition, and her instincts. She becomes less affected by the opinions and judgments of others because she is grounded in her own truth. In the stillness, she finds her power. The ability to filter out the noise is not just about rejecting external influences. It is also about silencing the internal dialogue that holds her back. It's about quieting the inner critic that tells her she isn't enough, that she needs to try harder, or that she's not deserving of success and happiness. The wise woman understands that these thoughts are simply products of fear and past experiences, not the truth of who she is. She makes the conscious choice to replace these negative, limiting thoughts with affirmations of self-love, self-worth, and possibility. This practice of reframing her thoughts helps her stay centered and focused, enabling her to stay aligned with her goals and dreams. Letting go of the noise creates space for self-reflection and growth. In this quiet space, she is able to connect with her deepest desires, her core values, and her sense of purpose. She can hear the subtle whispers of her heart that lead her toward her true path. With the distractions removed, she is free to take action from a place of clarity, not from a place of confusion or fear. She can make decisions that are aligned with her highest good, and she can embrace her personal power without hesitation or doubt. She literally knows who she is and speaks directly to her, and that's who she serves. This process of filtering out the noise also allows her to cultivate peace in her relationships. A wise woman understands that she does not need to engage in every conversation or every drama. She learns that it is okay to walk away from situations that do not serve her well-being. She recognizes that peace comes not from controlling the world around her, but from learning how to control her response to the world. How does that feel? By disengaging from toxic conversations and toxic people, she creates an environment of calm and tranquility in her life. This peaceful energy not only benefits her, but it also attracts others who are aligned with her values and vision. Another crucial aspect of cutting out the noise is recognizing the importance of setting boundaries. Boundaries are a form of self-respect. They are the lines we draw to protect our energy, our time, and our emotional well-being. A wise woman knows that setting boundaries is not selfish, but necessary for her own health and happiness. She knows that when she allows others to overstep her boundaries, she opens herself up to stress, frustration, and resentment. By saying no to things and people that do not align with her values or goals, she is saying yes to her own well-being and peace of mind. There is a huge difference in the stress and the weight of the world. Setting boundaries also means knowing when to step back from relationships that drain her. The wise woman understands that not all relationships are meant to be long-term. She acknowledges that some people come into our lives for a season, and that season may end. She is not afraid to let go of relationships that no longer contribute to her growth, happiness, or sense of peace. This can be difficult, especially when it involves people we care about or have been close to for a long time. But a wise woman knows that sometimes letting go is an act of love, not just for herself, but for the other person as well. It creates space for both parties to evolve and grow in new ways, even if that means walking separate paths. By cutting out the noise, the wise woman creates a life that is more intentional and fulfilling. She is no longer caught in the whirlwind of other people's opinions, expectations, or drama. She becomes the creator of her own reality, the architect of her own peace. And in doing so, she steps into her fullest power, embracing the person she was always meant to be. In conclusion, letting go of the noise is not just about removing distractions. It is about creating space for clarity, growth, and inner peace. A wise woman understands that her energy is precious and that she must protect it from the chaos and distractions that surround her. She knows that by cutting out the noise, she can hear her own voice, trust her instincts, and align her actions with her highest purpose. In doing so, she becomes more grounded, more focused, and more connected to the truth of who she is. This inner peace radiates outward, creating a life that is rich in meaning, fulfillment, and joy. In life, we often come across people who drain our energy, who take more from us than they give, and who leave us feeling exhausted, frustrated, or even broken. These are the types of individuals who, whether intentionally or unintentionally, prevent us from growing, evolving, and being the best version of ourselves. An example of this for me was lived into when we become debilitated. A wise woman understands the importance of recognizing when relationships become toxic, when they stop nurturing her, empowering her, or supporting her, and she has the courage to walk away. She knows that letting go of these relationships is not just a matter of self-preservation. It is an act of self-love. Toxic relationships come in many forms. They are not always easy to identify because at first glance, the people involved might not appear to be harmful. Sometimes they might be family members, friends, or even colleagues. They might not overtly insult or hurt us, but their behavior subtly chips away at our self-esteem, energy, and overall well-being. A toxic relationship often feels one-sided. It feels like an emotional drain, where you're constantly giving but never receiving. It's as though you're carrying the weight of the relationship on your own shoulders, while the other person contributes nothing but negativity or indifference. And if you think about it, one of the key characteristics of a toxic relationship is emotional manipulation. Emotional manipulators often prey on our insecurities and vulnerabilities to get what they want. They use guilt, shame, or fear to control or influence us, making us feel responsible for their happiness, well-being, or success. They make us believe that we must sacrifice our own needs, wants, or desires in order to please them. Over time, this constant emotional manipulation can cause significant damage to our sense of self-worth. We begin to question ourselves, wondering if we are enough, if we are worthy of respect, or if we deserve love that isn't conditional. A wise woman recognizes these patterns early on and knows that she is not responsible for anyone else's emotional state or happiness. She understands that a healthy relationship is built on mutual respect, trust, and support. If she finds herself in a relationship where she feels constantly manipulated, controlled, or guilted into doing things she doesn't want to do, she knows it is time to let go. This can be an incredibly difficult decision, especially if the person involved is someone she deeply cares about. But the wise woman knows that her well-being is non-negotiable. She knows that she cannot continue to pour into someone else's cup when her own is empty. Another form of toxic behavior that a wise woman will cut off is the constant presence of negativity. Some people are habitually negative, always seeing the worst in situations, people, and life itself. They complain about everything, criticize others, and never seem to have anything positive to say. While it's normal for anyone to go through rough patches or difficult times, some individuals seem to dwell in negativity, feeding off it like a lifeline. They see the glass as always half empty, and their pessimism can be contagious. Being around negative people can drain your energy and hinder your ability to remain positive. A wise woman understands that negativity breeds more negativity, and she refuses to be consumed by it. She knows that life is filled with both good and bad, and while she cannot control every circumstance, she can control how she reacts to them. She chooses to surround herself with people who uplift her, who inspire her, and who contribute to her mental and emotional health. If someone consistently brings negativity into her life, she has the strength to let go, understanding that she deserves to be around people who encourage her to see the good in the world. This episode inspired me so much that I reached out to the wonderful Scott. Toxic relationships also often involve a lack of reciprocity. When one person gives and gives, but the other person takes and takes without ever offering anything in return. This can occur in friendships, romantic relationships, or even professional relationships. Over time, this lack of reciprocity can create feelings of resentment, frustration, and burnout. The person giving feels unappreciated and unacknowledged, while the person taking never seems to recognize or value the effort being put in. These expectations highlight the differences between how you perceive an event and the actual expectations in the individual relationship. A wise woman understands that relationships are a two-way street. She knows that in order for a relationship to thrive, both parties must contribute equally. She does not stay in relationships where her efforts go unnoticed or unreciprocated. She realizes that her time, energy, and love are precious, and she will not waste them on individuals who are not willing to give back in return. She says, this does not mean that every relationship needs to be perfectly balanced at all times, but it does mean that there should be mutual care, respect, and effort from both sides. If one person is consistently draining the other without offering anything in return, the wise woman recognizes that this relationship is not sustainable. and it's time to move on. Another key sign of a toxic relationship is a lack of respect for boundaries. Boundaries are essential for maintaining healthy relationships, and they allow individuals to feel safe, respected, and valued. When someone consistently crosses your boundaries, whether they are emotional, physical, or mental, it creates an environment of disrespect and imbalance. A wise woman knows the importance of setting clear boundaries and communicating them effectively. She also knows that boundaries are not just about what others should or should not do, they are also about protecting her own space and energy. If someone continuously disregards her boundaries, it signals a lack of respect, and she understands that she cannot continue to invest in a relationship where her needs and limits are not respected. Letting go of toxic relationships requires strength and courage. It's not easy to walk away from people who have been a part of our lives, especially if they have been there for a long time. But a wise woman knows that her peace of mind, her emotional health, and her personal growth must come first. She understands that holding on to toxic relationships only hinders her progress and keeps her from stepping into her fullest potential. She knows that by letting go, she is creating space for healthier, more fulfilling relationships that align with her values and her vision for the future. This process of letting go is not about abandoning people or being cruel. It's about honoring herself and recognizing when a relationship is no longer serving her. It is a deeply empowering decision to prioritize her own well-being over the demands of others. The wise woman knows that by cutting off toxic relationships, she is not just protecting herself from harm, but she is also allowing the other person to grow and learn without her enabling their destructive behavior. While it is important to let go of toxic relationships, it is equally important to nurture and cultivate the healthy ones. A wise woman knows that the relationships she holds dear should be those that lift her up, inspire her, and support her in her growth. These relationships are built on trust, respect, and shared values. They are the ones that encourage her to be the best version of herself, and she reciprocates that same energy. She pours into these relationships with love, kindness, and care, knowing that they contribute to her happiness, fulfillment, and sense of belonging. In conclusion, letting go of toxic relationships is an act of self-love and self-respect. A wise woman recognizes when relationships no longer serve her and has the courage to walk away. She knows that her energy is precious and that she deserves to be surrounded by people who support her, respect her boundaries, and contribute positively to her life. While it may be difficult to cut ties with those who have been a part of her life, she understands that it is necessary for her own personal growth, peace, and happiness. In doing so, she makes room for healthier, more meaningful connections that will nurture her, inspire her, and help her thrive. The path to personal growth and fulfillment is often paved with difficult decisions, one of which is choosing to cut off relationships or situations that hinder our peace and authenticity. This journey requires immense inner strength, not only to recognize when something or someone is not aligned with your highest good, but also to make the conscious choice to prioritize your well-being and peace above all else. A wise woman knows that embracing her inner peace is not an act of selfishness, but an essential step toward living a life that is genuine, fulfilling, and aligned with her true self. She understands that her peace is sacred, and she will go to great lengths to protect it, even if that means releasing relationships, circumstances, or behaviors that no longer serve her. Inner peace is something that cannot be bought or borrowed from others. It must be cultivated from within. It is a state of mind and heart that allows a person to remain grounded, centered, and calm in the face of life's challenges. Achieving and maintaining inner peace requires ongoing effort and a deep commitment to self-awareness and self-care. Internally, you are committing yourself to be the best version of yourself for your life. You are reliable and honest and loyal to yourself. It involves becoming attuned to your own needs, desires, and emotions, as well as learning how to set boundaries and make choices that honor your well-being. For a wise woman, protecting her inner peace becomes one of her highest priorities because she knows that it is the foundation upon which her life is built. One of the most crucial steps in cultivating inner peace is learning to identify the things, people, and situations that disrupt it. These disruptions can take many forms: stress, chaos, unhealthy relationships, toxic environments, unresolved emotional pain, or the weight of unrealistic expectations. The wise woman understands that peace cannot coexist with constant emotional turmoil or negativity, and she will not allow herself to be consumed by external factors that create unnecessary tension or anxiety. She takes a hard look at her life, her surroundings, and the people she interacts with, recognizing where the disturbances to her peace are coming from and taking steps to address them. This process of identifying disruptions to her peace is not always easy, because it often involves acknowledging painful truths. It may mean recognizing that certain relationships are draining her, that certain environments are toxic, or that she is holding on to past hurts and unresolved emotions. The wise woman knows that in order to experience true peace, she must be willing to face these uncomfortable truths and make changes accordingly. She understands that avoiding or denying these issues will only prolong her inner unrest, and that the first step toward peace is always honesty with herself. Once the disruptions to her peace have been identified, the next step for a wise woman is to take deliberate action to remove or minimize them. This requires a great deal of courage, because often letting go of what disturbs your peace means making tough decisions, such as distancing yourself from people who bring negativity into your life, setting clear boundaries, or making lifestyle changes that align more closely with your values. These decisions may not be easy or popular, but a wise woman knows that her peace is worth the sacrifice. She is willing to release what no longer serves her, even if it involves stepping outside her comfort zone or facing difficult emotions. This commitment to protecting her peace also means refusing to engage in drama, conflict, or situations that do not contribute to her growth. A wise woman understands that peace is not a passive state, but an active choice. It requires a commitment to disengage from the things that try to pull her into NQQ captivity and to choose to remain calm and centered, regardless of external circumstances. She understands that she cannot control other people or the events around her, but she can control her reactions. By choosing not to react to drama, chaos, or conflict, she preserves her inner peace and remains focused on what truly matters. Moreover, a wise woman understands that peace is not just about avoiding negative situations or people, but also about creating an environment that fosters calm and tranquility. She takes time to cultivate peace within her daily life, whether through practices like meditation, mindfulness, yoga, or simply carving out moments of quiet for reflection. These practices allow her to reconnect with herself, center her mind, and cultivate the inner stillness that is essential for peace. She knows that when she is at peace with herself, she is better able to navigate the challenges and uncertainties of life with clarity and composure. In her relationships, the wise woman recognizes the importance of surrounding herself with people who contribute to her peace, not those who create chaos or drama. She understands that the energy of those around her can either uplift or drain her, and she chooses to be in the company of those who support her growth, encourage her authenticity, and respect her boundaries. She knows that toxic relationships, whether romantic, familial, or friendships, can create unnecessary stress and emotional turmoil, which disturbs her peace. By distancing herself from such relationships, she makes room for connections that nourish her soul and contribute to her well-being. The wise woman also understands the power of saying no. This simple yet powerful act is a crucial component of protecting her inner peace. She knows that in order to maintain balance in her life, she must be willing to say no to things that do not align with her values, goals, or emotional needs. Saying no can be uncomfortable, especially when it involves letting down others or disappointing people. But the wise woman knows that her peace is worth the discomfort. She recognizes that by saying no, she is saying yes to herself, to her well-being, and to the things that truly matter in her life. In addition to external factors, a wise woman also pays attention to her internal landscape, the thoughts, beliefs, and emotions that shape her experience of the world. She understands that inner peace cannot be achieved if she is constantly at war with herself. This means that she works on cultivating self-compassion, forgiveness, and acceptance. She recognizes that everyone makes mistakes, and that she is deserving of love and understanding, both from herself and others. When negative thoughts or self-criticism arise, she challenges them with kindness and empathy. She reframes her thinking, choosing to focus on what is good, positive, and uplifting in her life. She understands that peace begins within, and that by healing her inner world, she creates the conditions for peace to flourish in every area of her life. Together we will achieve something beyond peace, so that victory is preeminently tolerated. Another important aspect of cultivating inner peace is learning to embrace the present moment. A wise woman understands that peace cannot be found in the past or the future. It can only be experienced in the here and now. She practices mindfulness, staying present in each moment and allowing herself to fully experience life as it unfolds. She lets go of regrets about the past and worries about the future, choosing instead to focus on what she can control in the present. By embracing the present moment, she frees herself from the burdens of stress and anxiety and creates space for peace to flow freely into her life. The wise woman also knows that inner peace does not mean the absence of challenges or difficult emotions. Life is filled with ups and downs, and there will be times when she feels sad, frustrated, or overwhelmed. However, she has developed the ability to navigate these emotions with grace and resilience. She does not allow negative emotions to define her or control her actions. Instead, she allows herself to feel, process, and release them. She understands that emotions are temporary and that they do not have to dictate her experience of life. By acknowledging and accepting her feelings, she is able to move through them without losing her sense of peace. In embracing inner peace, the wise woman also cultivates a deep sense of gratitude. She practices gratitude regularly, focusing on the things that bring her joy, fulfillment, and meaning. This practice shifts her perspective, helping her to focus on the abundance in her life rather than what is lacking. Gratitude brings her back to the present moment and reminds her of the many blessings she has, no matter how small. By focusing on gratitude, she amplifies the peace she already has within her, creating a positive feedback loop of calm, joy, and contentment. Finally, the wise woman understands that peace is not a destination but a continuous journey. She does not expect to be in a constant state of serenity, but she knows that by consistently choosing peace, by making choices that honor her well-being, by setting boundaries, by cultivating self-love, and by surrounding herself with supportive relationships, she creates a life that is grounded in peace. She has freedom in her life and in herself. She embraces the ebb and flow of life, knowing that inner peace is something that requires ongoing effort, awareness, and commitment. In conclusion, embracing inner peace is one of the most profound acts of self-care and self-love that a wise woman can undertake. It is a conscious decision to prioritize her own well-being, happiness, and authenticity above all else. By protecting her peace, she creates the foundation for a life that is fulfilling, aligned with her true self, and resilient in the face of life's challenges. This commitment to peace is not only a gift to herself, but also to the world around her, as she radiates calm, strength, and clarity in everything she does. In conclusion, a wise woman understands that inner peace is not a luxury, but a necessity for living a fulfilling, authentic, and meaningful life. She knows that peace begins within, and by cultivating it, she creates the foundation upon which everything else in her life is built. Whether it's letting go of toxic relationships, setting boundaries, embracing self-compassion, or remaining present in the moment, she actively chooses peace in all aspects of her life. By prioritizing her peace, she empowers herself to navigate the complexities of life with grace, clarity, and resilience. The journey to inner peace requires courage, self-awareness, and a willingness to let go of what no longer serves her. It is not always easy, but it is always worth the effort. The wise woman knows that her peace is her most valuable asset, and she will fiercely protect it, not just for her own well-being, but also as a way of nurturing those around her. She recognizes that by choosing peace, she not only enhances her own life, but also sets an example for others to follow, creating a ripple effect of calm, strength, and harmony in the world. Ultimately, embracing inner peace is an ongoing practice, a continual journey of self-discovery, growth, and healing. For the wise woman, it is a commitment to honor herself and her worth, to release what no longer serves her, and to create a life that reflects her true essence. Through this commitment, she not only finds peace within herself, but also inspires others to do the same, creating a world where peace, love, and authenticity are the guiding principles.